Making sense of a problem helps students develop a growth mindset by focusing them on their understanding, rather than on just getting the correct answer. Often, students learn a math rule without understanding why the rule makes sense. Making sense of a problem deepens students' understanding of the material, helps other students in the class see the problem from a different perspective, and encourages students to work through their misunderstandings and gaps in knowledge by making and learning from their mistakes. Next, watch Kathy Humphreys, a math teacher, help her students make sense of a problem, and hear from Professor Joe Bowler.
For the class today, you're going to have a rule, and some people already know the rule, but I don't care about the rule right now. What I want to know is, can anybody make sense of this? Of what? All right, so right now we have two different answers. We have the answer 6, and Leslie's saying it's because you divide, there's 3 1/3 in 1, and then 2 times 3 is 6. And then we have the other theory that the answer, put your hands down for a second. The other theory is that the answer is 1.5, but we don't know why, except that the rule works. So the rule working is not good enough today. All right, so why does it make sense? Why does Leslie's answer make sense? Why does 1.5 make sense? I want to know why it makes sense. Excuse me. This is really interesting. The side of the room that I talked to, about half of the people thought it was 6, and about half the people thought it was 1.5. And then I found Sam willing to make an argument for 1.5. So Sam, would you go to the board and draw your picture, and you can erase the other pictures so far.
Well, if you have this, it's not equal, but if that's one whole, and if these, let's say these two parts are shaded, then that's 2/3, right? Of that, and this one doesn't count now, so that's 2/3, and this is the other 1/3. And so if you draw, this is a hole. It's gonna stay. See, that's the hole, right? And if you take these two and put them here, like it was, and then you still have these, then you still have the 1/3 left, and 1/3 is half of 2/3, and so you just add 1/2, and that's what I was saying.
Now, remember what the day that we talked about, convince yourself, convince a friend, and convince a skeptic. Anybody want to, let's see if anybody can challenge Sam or push on his thinking a little bit.
Okay,
I thought you were going.
okay, well that's exactly what I was thinking, and that's how I convinced our table, because we had a couple of people here who thought it was 6, but then I pretty much convinced them that it was
Zach or Ben, are you willing to talk about what Michael Lamb said that convinced you?
I thought it was everything 1.5 said in the beginning. He was the skeptic.
You were the skeptic? Okay, now really, this would be really great. What made you change your mind?
It made more sense than what I thought before.
Can you explain it? No?
I think so.
Okay, would you try please? Because if you can explain what somebody else said, then you're one notch further up in your ability to understand it.
So in the Kathy video we watched, we saw a task that could definitely be all about performance. 1 divided by 2/3, if that was given to students as a question, definitely they could just see that as one quick answer that they're meant to show. But Kathy transformed that task by asking students about the different ways they could make sense of 1 divided by 2/3. And that opened it up, along with the culture of her class that's all about learning and exploring. And that opening encouraged opportunities for a growth mindset. So Kathy has a really strong focus in her classroom on a particular norm that's about encouraging students to be sense makers. Nothing goes in her classroom unless the students can make sense of it. So there are different things within the norm of sense making. She encourages different ways to make sense with different representations, encouraging students to draw and to visualize and to show things in different ways. She also develops a culture of collaboration and shared work. Students really make sense of mathematics when they talk about it and when they reason mathematically with each other. Something else she does is she gives public space to the sense-making norms. So she holds whole class discussions. Now, when teachers have those whole class discussions, it's a chance for them to really instantiate norms of what they think is important with all the students, what maths is and what's important in the class.